I got up at about 5 this morning and saw the moon set. The morning sky was really pretty, and Picket Post Mountain was really pretty too. I realized in the night that the low hum all night that I heard was the sound of the copper mine. Mary Jo, the trail angel who drove me back to the trail, had talked about how back in the day the mine employed a lot more people, but now it doesn't employ very many, and that's why the town has so many boarded up houses. I'm sure the way the mine hummed rhythmically all night, it's been automated. It's such a beautiful but cold morning. I'm really grateful for this bush and tree that was sheltered from the wind last night that I found. And the wind went away during the night, so it was very comfortable. I'm glad I found that. I followed a small creek up through cottonwoods and red rocks. I met two British women packing up and said hello. It didn't take long for them to pass me. At a junction, I saw them go the wrong way. I called out to them, but they said they were taking the dirt road on purpose. I looked, and it was indeed a shortcut. I kept to the trail. It was nice to walk on. There weren't too many rocks like there usually are. I stopped to eat breakfast, and I saw a man in the distance. I wondered if it was Cherry Pit. Eventually, I caught up to him, and it was. The trail crisscrossed a nice little stream for a few miles, then began to climb the wall of mountain at the end of the canyon. The trail went steeper and steeper, and the top never seemed to get any closer. I thought I could see someone near the top, but when I got to where they had been, the top seemed further away than ever. There were at times little campsites on the way. I heard the hourly beep of my watch twice before I finally reached the top. At the top, I sat to have a snack and take a moment to feel good about my accomplishment before winding it all back on the descent. As I sat there, Cherry Pit arrived and he stopped to rest too. He said he was feeling pretty bad. He had not slept and he just felt tired. After my rest, I continued on. The trail didn't go as far down as I thought it might. It just went to a dirt road. I hiked the dirt road as friendly people driving by on ATVs would stop and ask where I was going. The ones coming toward me would say the other two women were just ahead, as if we were together. I set off from the trailhead parking to a trail following a stream. It reminded me of hiking the Manzana. The trail was in worse shape, though. There were some sketchy spots where I thought I might fall. The trail turned up a different canyon and it got pretty brushy. I followed cairns and picked my way through social trails that had been created to avoid washouts. The trail climbed out of the creek bed high up out of the valley. The bed was like ball bearings and I slipped in one sketchy washout and fell, cutting my knee. Eventually I reached the top and washed my knee in a little creek. Now I was up in the trees. It really reminded me of hiking up to Pine Mountain Lodge, only the trees up here were burned. On and on I followed the stream, with Cherry Pit not far behind me. We walked through bunchgrass meadows and played Find the Trail for a couple of hours. Cherry Pit said he wanted to stop at Revis Ranch. I kind of wanted to go further. There was a good sight at the ranch. I looked that far out, and it looked like in a mile or so the trail would climb again. I decided I would stay in this huge meadow with him. It was only 4:30. I got up at 5 and was on my way at 5:45. Almost right away was a climb, but it wasn't bad. The trail became surrounded by pinyon forest and red cliffs. I stepped on some black ice and fell on my left hip. That's 3 falls on the same side of my body in 2 days. The trail was very rocky and required concentration not to fall. It went steeply up and down all day. The uphills were slow because of the steepness, and the downhills were slow because of the steepness and the feeling of walking on ball bearings. It was also very cold and windy most of the time. Eventually the trail became a road, and the road was as rocky and slippery as the trail. I went very slowly on the steep downhills. The trail became a trail again, then followed Cottonwood Creek. How many creeks are named Cottonwood Creek in this world? Small seeps and pools would appear, constant up and down over small benches, back and forth as the creek became more and more a real creek. Suddenly the scenery burst into life with sycamores and greenery, but the hiking was rocky and uncomfortable. On, up and down, tiny slow steps trying not to slip and fall on the ball bearings and ankle rollers. On the bright side there were carpets of poppies and other flowers on the hillsides with the saguaros. Sometimes the fragrance of the flowers is noticeable. After many hours, I finally reached the turnoff to Roosevelt Lake. I walked down to the store and got my box and unpacked it in the hiker area. I now had way too much food for the 41 miles to Payson, but not enough to just go all the way to Pine. I sorted my food, got some fresh insoles for my shoes, which I cut to size with my pocket knife. It felt so good. I went to the restaurant and had a burger with the guys. I've been trying to eat a lot to keep my energy high, but today it didn't work very well. I felt beat up and sore. There was a beautiful sunset. We all camped by the highway and nearby to the lake and the store. After dark, I searched around the store for an unlocked outlet and charged all my batteries and everything, and I was ready to go to Payson.